There are a lot of videos about rigs for the GH5. The reason I'm making this is I think this rig is slightly different. I've worked on it over the last while. I've had the camera for nearly 2 years. And what I'm looking for is a documentary rig, something that is really good for run and gun. It's not the lightest, but really I feel everything that's on it is a necessity. So first thing is that it's well balanced. You can see that it's just actually sitting on my hands there. This handle here gives the ability to hold it with one hand while sorting stuff out, which is super important. I have tried the sort of handles that you grip both on both sides, but this is actually the thing I've come up with in the end that's most comfortable. The SmallHD monitor, which is often paired with this camera, a lot of people have that up on the top here. There's a couple of problems I have with that. One is the weight, kind of pulling the camera forward. The other is it blocking my eye line if I'm, I shoot a lot on my own and I want to keep that eye line with people. So I don't want something blocking it. So to me, that's the kind of space that I want it in. So I'll show you quite quickly through what's on the camera. So I've got the HDMI monitor set up on the side here, just little tabs on the HDMI cables just to make them easy to pull out. Everything has to be really fast to get on and off. Nato reel, a couple of spacers in there just to make sure that the monitor is spaced out from the lens. Then on the side here I've got a nato reel mounted. This is actually a bit of Meccano, just a Meccano curve with a bit of tape around it. It's the only thing that I could come up with. I mean, it works perfectly. There's no other reason to do something else. I haven't seen something in the market that gives you that simple angle to work that way. On the front, I've got the ND mounted on a Manfrotto magnetic adapter. I think it's for me, it's a necessity, but I don't think the magnet's strong enough on it, so it's not perfect. But for this particular lens where I do a lot of the run and gun with, I'm moving in and out between indoors and outdoors, it's a necessity. Here, which I wouldn't have this on the camera that much, but it's a kind of, I wouldn't quite call it a matte box, but yeah, basically for shooting straight into the sun. Yeah, very adaptable. You can twist it and yeah, get whatever angles you need. What I would tend to do then with this is that would only go on when I'm shooting in particular light. And then I have a small light that goes on the top here, a Aladin. And what I really like about this is the fact that you can spin it around. So say I'm shooting inside a car, that means I can spin it so that the light is bouncing off the roof of the car, which just gives much better ambient light rather than pointing at somebody's face. It just gives a nice bit of light in the car without being too directional. Then if I'm jumping out of the car, I can pull that up and spin it back around. It's just very adaptable. I can't have time to kind of move things and screw things, and things need to work really fast. On the side here, I've got the Sennheiser 416, which is a great mic. I've got it mounted so that it's kind of a Roycott. I've kind of MacGyvered this again. I had this on another camera, but what I really wanted is the fact that I could be more directional with it. If, for instance, I was shooting across dialogue and the person on the left didn't have a radio mic on them, then in a pinch I could pull this mic across. It's not an ideal situation. Obviously, having a boom operator is the ideal situation, but when you're shooting on your own, you've got to have some solutions to tricky situations like that. What I've got on here is a 10 dB audio booster. The preamps in this I find have been really good, and being in working with audio guys, I've had they've given good reports on the audio that I've shot. So I don't have any problems with that, but I do think you want a strong signal coming into it. I like to have the dials fairly low. So both this Micro Explorer gives out a strong signal, and the Sennheiser with the 10 dB gives out a strong signal, which I think is, just gives you cleaner audio. This again is mounted just on a rail, super quick to take off. And I think that's one of the most important. That's one of the most important things, is that everything is really fast and easy. That's just mounted on a cold shoe, but once it's on, it's strong. And then I would leave these in. I wouldn't take this off, but just so I can show you the handle, I'm just going to take these off, the audio and the dB booster. So what I've done here is, this is actually a flash bracket, just upside down and literally just screwed on the top of the cage. I've had to file that back so that the audio, you know, it doesn't, so it can fit underneath the audio, and I've had to cut out a bit again so that the XLR adapter can fit in. And I've kind of MacGyvered this because the 10 dB booster, I just felt it was going out too far, it just needed a little bit of support. So I kind of made that for that. And then SmallRIG, again, just a reel, I don't know what they're called, a nato reel thing, and a cold shoe there on the side. I got this off another camera I had lying around, which I'm shooting on at the moment. It's just one of those kind of handles, just makes it nice and soft. And this is actually just a divider, just cable tied onto the rig. Again, just makes it nice and comfortable. And it actually stops anything here. I can kind of get my finger in behind this stuff, but it stops me actually bumping anything in behind there. So, and I guess I want my hand in tight there as well. That's one of the reasons I did try a handle this side, but never on this side, because I want my fingers, you know, where I can get at everything, all the buttons. I want to be in tight. Yeah, so I think this is a really strong, well-balanced rig. And I mean, the great thing about it is, depending on what you're shooting, that would be my setup for kind of reality TV stuff. But, you know, if you're out shooting B-roll, I would strip the camera right down and put on something like a little Rode, you know, those wee Rode mini mics on it, just to get a bit of audio, depending on what sort of audio I was looking for, and what sort of situation I was in. This eyepiece at the back, I got the last time I was in America, it's like a G cup or something like that. They're quite expensive to get here. To get over there is a bit cheaper, but I think they're worth it. I wouldn't buy one necessarily from the UK, but yeah, they're comfortable, and yeah, I do like using the EVF as well. So yeah, that's the setup I've got for the GH5. I'll just put it back together very quickly. Got the, so you get a feel for how quickly and easy it is to put on. That would normally all stay on. And as I mentioned before, like, I mean, the great thing about this is the fact that it's well balanced, you know, and your hands for me are in the right place. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you know, leave them in the comments below. I can be more specific about what all the parts are if people are interested. I just thought I'd first of all just make this just to give people an idea of yeah, this type of rig. And I'm not saying it's totally different, but I think it is slightly different than, I mean, I've looked at a lot of people's rigs because, yeah, I'm constantly looking at the most lightweight, convenient way to use the camera. I think it's a great camera, and this is the best I've come up with at the moment for my needs. Thanks for watching, and give a like.